Hi dear friends, in this session we are going to discuss about solution of an LP problem using dual simplex method. Coming to the learning objectives, after this session you should be able to understand the framework of dual simplex method, solve an LP problem using the dual simplex method. Coming to the outline of the dual simplex method, in general, solution of an LP problem should be feasible and optimal. In the sense, basically should be feasible and then optimal. But sometimes in the simplex table, though all the values of Cj minus Zj are lesser than or equal to 0, if one or more values of the basic variables are negative, then the solution is optimal but not feasible. What I mean is, so in the process of simplex method, maybe after one or two iterations, we may get all Cj minus Zj lesser than or equal to 0. Then we can say it is optimal. But if you observe, some basic variables, one or two basic variables, may take the negative value. So then, though it is optimal, it is not feasible. Why? Non-negativity constraint it is violating. x1, x2 are all the basic variables, no, should be greater than or equal to 0 in general, no. So hence, if one or more values of the basic variables are negative, though the solution is optimal, it is not feasible. In such cases, a variant of simplex method known as dual simplex method is used. In this method, the constraints of greater than or equal type are converted into the constraints of lesser than or equal type, multiplying the constraint by -1 throughout in the sense on both the sides. Okay, if any constraint is of greater than or equal type, then you can convert that into lesser than or equal type, just multiplying it by -1. Then all the constraints will be of one type, that is lesser than or equal type. Okay, once if you have a constraint of lesser than or equal type, then you have to add only the slack variables. Normally, so in the big M method and two-phase method, now we have seen that if the constraint is of greater than or equal type, so we used to add surplus and artificial variables. So that will not come, I mean introduction of surplus variables and artificial variables will not come into the picture in this dual simplex method. So in penalty or big M method and in two-phase method, now what we used to do, so we used to introduce artificial variables, then so we are eliminating them in the process. So that problem will not arise here. Fine. So all the variables will be of one type, that is slack variables, as you are converting greater than or equal type constraint to lesser than or equal type. So let us take a worked example to understand the procedure of dual simplex method. Use the dual simplex method to solve the following LP problem. Maximize z equals to -2x1 minus 3x2 subject to the constraints x1 plus x2 greater than or equal to 2, 2x1 plus x2 lesser than or equal to 10, x1 plus x2 lesser than or equal to 8 with x1 and x2 greater than or equal to 0. Now let us have a look about the given LP problem. So the objective is maximization, hence it is in the standard form, no need to convert. Okay. So if it is minimize, no, okay, z minimize or minimize z means you are supposed to convert it to the maximization form, which is the standard form. Okay, now coming to the constraints. So just now we discussed that if any constraint is of greater than or equal type, it should be converted into lesser than or equal type. Hence you can apply the dual simplex method. Okay. So hence, okay, these two are of lesser than or equal type. As this one is greater than or equal type, you have to add a, I mean you have to convert this into lesser than or equal type by multiplying it with -1. So let us see the solution of this. So the given problem is of maximization or standard form. So no need to convert. Okay, converting the constraint of greater than or equal type to lesser than or equal type constraint. The first constraint becomes minus x1 minus x2 lesser than or equal to minus 2. Okay, this is converted into of lesser than or equal type. This is also of lesser than or equal, lesser than or equal. Now converting all these constraints into the equations, let us see what we will get. Expressing all the constraints as equations. Okay, so plus u1 plus u2 plus u3 you have to add to consider the constraints as equations. As something is less than or equal to, you have to add something on LHS, no? That's what you have done. So minus x1 minus x2 plus u1, this is plus u2 plus u3, and of course you have to write the modified objective function involving these three slack variables. So where u1, u2 and u3 are the slack variables, modified objective function, so the minus 2x1 minus 3x2 plus 0 u1, 0 u2 and 0 u3. Okay, now coming to the simplex table 1, basis, okay, will be having only the slack variables. So it is a template of simplex table only. CB, coefficients of the basis, by default there will be zeros, x1 and x2 now. So you have to take the objective function, the constraints you have to take, minus 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, the identity matrix you will get in general. So minus this one, minus 1, why minus 1 it is this one. First constraint, second constraint, third constraint. So first constraint, second constraint, third constraint. Coefficients you have to write here. And B is the RHS. Okay, B is the RHS. Cj is nothing but coefficients of the objective function. Minus 2x1 minus 3x2 plus 0 u1 plus 0 u2 plus 0 u3. Zj, okay, you know how to compute this into this plus this into this plus this into this. Okay, all will get zeros only. So because CB is 0. Cj minus Zj will be equal to minus 2, minus 3, 0, 0, 0. Okay, now what is your observation? What is your observation? All Cj minus Zj are lesser than or equal to 0. All Cj minus Zj are lesser than or equal to 0. Since all the values of Cj minus Zj are lesser than or equal to 0, the above solution is optimal. But it is infeasible, though it is optimal as we discussed in the beginning slide. So it is infeasible as it has a negative value for the basic variable u1 equals to minus 2. If you observe, see u1, RHS is b, no, minus 2. u2, let it be 10. u3, 8. So it is infeasible. Why? So though all Cj minus Zj are lesser than or equal to 0, one of the basic variable is taking the negative value. So in such cases, so though it is optimal, it is not feasible. Fine. So because u1 is taking a value of minus 2, only in such cases you can say dual simplex method is applicable, in the sense, so Cj minus Zj lesser than or equal to 0, but one of the basic variable is taking minus 2, hence dual simplex method is applicable, you can say. Since u1 is only the negative variable, okay, it becomes a leaving variable. The procedure is very simple. Okay, if you have more than 2 variables, no, the highest negative variable you have to consider as leaving variable. Here, so it is a little bit reverse. What you used to do, if you are having highest positive, no, highest positive, you are taking that as pivot column. Then okay, you are dividing B divided by pivot column elements to determine the pivot element, all that. Fine. So here, so the procedure is little bit different. So what you have to do is, okay, because already okay, you are getting the status of optimality, hence you are not in a position to decide now PC, which is PR and all. So determining PC, PR is little bit different, that's all. So u1 is only the negative variable. If you have more than one negative variable, for example, if it was minus 2, minus 10, no, so you are supposed to take the variable with highest negative value as leaving variable. Here, since u1 is only the negative variable, it becomes a leaving variable. The variable with negative value, no, will become the leaving variable in general. So that's what I am repeating. Okay, if more than one variable with negative sign, you prefer the variable corresponding to the highest negative value as leaving variable. Fine. Now let us see this. The corresponding row is pivotal row. That's what here. See, minus you got here. This is the leaving variable. U1 will leave in the next simplex table. Fine. So this is the PR corresponding. This one is there, no? Corresponding row to the leaving variable is the PR. So we used to identify PC first in the regular simplex method, big M method, and two-phase method. Here, PR we are going to determine first. PR corresponding to the negative variable. Fine. That is the leaving variable. The corresponding row is pivotal row. Then how to determine pivotal column? We'll see. So, okay. So here, to determine the pivotal column or entry variable, no, you have little procedure. So what to do is Cj minus Zj, whatever you got here, Cj minus Zj, and then pivot row, PR you got it, no, PR. So that ratio you have to take it, Cj minus Zj, pivot row. So third row is Cj minus Zj divided by pivot row, minus 2 divided by minus 1, minus 3 by minus 1, that is 3. Out of this, no, which is least, no, that one you have to take as the entry variable. So the variable with smallest ratio as calculated in the above table becomes the entering or entry variable, that is x1. See, Cj minus Zj, how I have taken from the table only, previous table. Pivot row, okay, as you have determined LV, the corresponding row is pivot row. So Cj minus Zj divided by pivot row. So ratio you have to compute out of these two, which is minimum 2. So hence x1 becomes the entry variable. Okay, and the corresponding column, no, is called as pivot column by default. Always, no, the corresponding variable of pivot column is entry variable, and the intersection element is the pivot element. Now let us go back. So this is PR. As you determine the ratio, that is Cj minus Zj divided by elements of this pivotal row. So you got x1 as the entry variable because that has got the minimum or least ratio, no, 2. So hence I am writing this x1 as, I am marking or showing x1 as what? Entry variable. So then automatically the corresponding this one, no, is called pivot column. Now pivot row you have decided, pivot column you have decided. The intersection element is pivot element. The intersection element is pivot element. So you please note that PR, no, corresponding to the negative value. Fine. Okay, once you get PR, how to determine PC? So you take Cj minus Zj divided by these elements. That is the equation portion. This elements means pivotal row elements. Least ratio you find out. So the variable corresponding to the least ratio, no, it becomes the entry variable. So then the respective column is pivot column. Fine. The intersection element of these two is pivot element. Okay. Now, once if you get all these things, no, that is pivot column, pivot row, pivot element. So you have to move to the next simplex table. So move to the next simplex table, replacing LV with EV. Of course, 3 conditions, they are same. What is that? What are those? You have to replace LV with EV, and you have to make the pivot element as 1 and other elements of pivot column as 0s. While moving from one simplex table to another simplex table, no, this is the procedure that we will learn. Okay. So simplex table 1, no. Okay, let us go back here. Now to write simplex table 2, no, you have to keep this as 1. How to make it 1? Just to multiply by minus 1. That's all. I mean, not only this element from here to here, you have to multiply by minus 1. So that this will become 1, this will become 1, this becomes minus 1, 0, 0, this is 2. Like. And somehow you have to make other elements zeros by suitable row operations as we discussed. And how to make this 0? How to add this and this. Okay, either old you can take or new you can take. Row operations need not be unique. Only thing is this pivot element you have to keep unity. These two elements 0. These two elements 0. How to make this 0? For example, this is R3, no, R3 plus R1, no, okay, becomes 0. And you are supposed to continue that row operation from here to here. That is the equation portion. So same thing, how to make this as 0? For example, this is R2. R2 minus R2, already there is minus R2 plus 2R1, I can say. R2 is 2 for example, plus 2 into minus 1, it becomes 0. So R2 plus 2R1 is the row operation from here to here, okay, to make this 0. So what is the procedure? Pivot element you have to keep it 1, and other elements of pivot column you have to make 0, and of course you have to replace this LV with EV. In the next simplex table, no, this U1 no, will be replaced with X1 with the appropriate coefficient. Okay, let us see the simplex table 2 now. So basis is revised now. X1, of course, the corresponding coefficient is minus 2, and which was the pivot element? Pivot element was minus 1, no, this one corresponding to this X1. Fine, that one made it 1 pivot element, and other elements, no, there is 0 and 0 by row operations as we discussed. Okay, we made pivot element as 1, other elements of pivot column zeros, and we replaced X1, that is U1 with X1. Okay, now let us see. So Cj is same throughout. Zj, no, this into this plus this into this plus this into this minus 2. Zj at this place is summation of this into, product of this into this, that is CB into corresponding column, CB into corresponding column, CB into corresponding column. So you have to sum that. Product of this into this plus product of this into this plus product of this into this. This is fixed. Only you are changing the column. So for example, if you want Zj here, no, okay. So this is fixed as I told. This will change. This you have to operate. 1 into 0, this into this into this. That is 2. Why it is 2? Minus 2 into minus 1, 2. So now what is your observation? All Cj minus Zj are lesser than or equal to 0. Okay, it is optimum now. Okay, optimum, but you have to check for the feasibility also. X1 is taking 2, U2 is 6, U3 is 6. What is your observation? None of the basic variables are negative. Hence, it is optimal as well as feasible. You can declare the optimality. Okay, why in the simplex table 1 we have not declared optimality, though all Cj minus Zj lesser than or equal to 0 means one of the basic variable was negative here, negative there. But here none of the basic variables are negative and all Cj minus Zj lesser than or equal to 0. Hence, we can say it is optimal. Since all the Cj minus Zj values are lesser than or equal to 0, the above optimal, the above solution is optimal. Okay. Also, it is feasible as no basic variable is negative. Now coming to the optimal and feasible solution, X1 no, is 2. And of course, one more basic decision variable is there that has not appeared here. It doesn't mean that every basic variable, the decision variable should appear in the basis, to get all Cj minus Zj lesser than or equal to 0. So sometimes what may happen means, so just by one variable itself, after introduction or after entering of one variable itself, we may get Cj minus Zj lesser than or equal to 0. Okay, then how to declare it is optimum. So it doesn't mean that all the basic variables should occupy the basis, like fine. So only thing is, whichever has come, you have to give that value. X1 is equals to 2, and whichever has not appeared in the basis, no, that will take the value of 0. If you substitute X1 equals to 2 and X2 equals to 0, you will get Z max. Okay, so Z max is minus 4. That you can see here also in the table directly. Z max is minus 4. That's all about the dual simplex method. Now coming to the learning objectives, I hope certainly you have met with the learning objectives that were defined. Fine. Understand the framework of dual simplex method. Solve an LP problem using the dual simplex method. So understand in the sense, sometimes what may happen means, though all Cj minus Zj are lesser than or equal to 0, so one of the basic variable may take the negative value. In such cases, the solution, though it is optimal, it is not feasible. So hence, so a variant of the simplex method known as dual simplex method is used in such cases. Fine. The main thing is the constraints of greater than or equal type are converted into lesser than or equal type, just multiplying the constraint on both sides by minus 1. So you will not be having the introduction of surplus and artificial variables. You will be having only the slack variables. So like this, okay, I have taken a problem and worked example I have taken. So here all Cj minus Zj were lesser than or equal to 0, but one of the basic variable was taking negative value, hence we moved it to second, this one, simplex table. So the procedure is same while moving from one simplex table to another simplex table. So pivotal element you have to keep 0, all other elements of pivot column you have to nullify, and you have to replace LV with EV. And only the difference between the simplex method and this is, so there we used to identify the PC first based on the highest positive value of Cj minus Zj. Here it's not so. First PR. How do you get PR is, so the variable corresponding to this one, I mean negative value, no? For example, here u1 is minus 2. The row corresponding to the negative variable will become the PR. Okay, for example, here u1 is minus 2, u2 10, u3 is 8. Okay, only one negative is there, so that will become PR. Corresponding variable is leaving variable. If at all, okay, if you have two negative variables, minus 2, minus 10, then you are supposed to take first highest negative variable as leaving variable or the corresponding row as PR. So once if you get PR, no, how to get PC? You have to take the ratio, that is Cj minus Zj divided by elements of pivotal row. So whichever the variable gets the minimum ratio, no, that becomes the entry variable. In this case x1, so has got the minimum ratio or least ratio, hence that becomes the entry variable. Once if you get entry variable, the corresponding column is pivot column. So pivot row, pivot column, intersection element is pivot element. We just have reiterated the same procedure, now summarized or reiterated. So I take this opportunity to thank you one and all. Take care. Have a nice time. We'll meet in the next session.